inclusion in practice in this situation, instead of really moving forward with like the loudest voices or the fastest voices, as the leader in this room, Diana really pauses and says, hey, before we move on, I want to hear from people that I haven't heard from yet, right? Maybe giving the group a minute to write down their thoughts before opening the conversation again. Or even, as you all have shared, making space for people to have like a gallery wall where they can come back to it. They can look, they can write notes, they can process before they come back and provide input. The reality is that we all process things differently. Some things faster, some things slower. And not even about processing, but also about the way that we are willing and able to engage. I am a trainer, but I'm also very introverted, right? So if I'm in a space where there are a lot of people who kind of like push their way in to talk, I generally, just like Cynthia, I will sit back and kind of just let it happen, right? Let it happen. And so you may not get my input, which may be very valuable in that type of space, because I'm one who loves to listen, but I also will not like overtalk someone. So it's really important that as you all think about inclusion in practice, that you also think about how you can weave inclusion into the way that you work in general, right? So saying, this is how we approach meetings that are for collaboration, right? We never want you to give feedback in real time. If you have it, great. But we always set our meetings up in ways where people have time to think about what was being shared, come back, they can write things down, they can submit things, or they can look and take notes at the same time, but giving space so that people have time to think and process as the standard for how you engage is really important part of inclusivity in practice. And then also someone had shared this in the chat earlier while you all were in the breakout rooms. I was going through the chat. Someone shared earlier that inclusion is really, for them, is really not about being pushed into the existing way of working, but really as leaders, changing how the work happened so that more people can be a part of it in real ways, right? So a lot of times it's like, I want to be a more inclusive leader, but the way that our workspaces are designed, I don't have time to go to every person and ask them what they need or how to implement it and all of these things. So a lot of leaders really struggle with the implementation part. Like, it's not that they don't know what inclusivity looks like in practice, it's that it's challenging to implement that into the existing way of working. And so when you get to a place where you are in leadership, right, and you have the ability to kind of impact some of these ways of working, it's really important that you are able and willing to say, can we look at how these things are structured and can we adjust them so that they are more inclusive, right? So that leaders are not trying to, within a system, readjust things to match inclusivity. It really needs to happen on a higher level. And that's one of the most important things that I would like for you all to take away from this as individuals who are leaders, even if you don't have the role of director, supervisor, program manager, project manager, whatever the case may be, even if you don't have that title, if you are in a position where others look to you to be an example of how things are done, there is a certain level of responsibility that comes with that. And being willing to speak up and say, hey, the existing way of how we do this is not really inclusive. Can we consider doing it this way? Is something that we need more leaders to do so that this is happening on an organizational level and it's not so much tension with trying to do these things as an inclusive leader within an organization that is not in itself yet practicing inclusive leadership.